Welcome everybody. So, gonna be talking about Dodrio and Doduo. First things first, the typing. Yes, it's weird. Ground flying. It's an odd choice. I actually didn't even pick it. One of my friends did, and I was not feeling it at first, but they convinced me. And now, months later, because I did that months ago, months later, looking back on it, I'm really happy with the change. I actually like it a lot. Um, so the main reason for this is two reasons. Okay, number one, normal flying types have immense competition. Okay, immense. In fact, if I go to them and I list out all of the normal flying types that are staying normal flying, because of course a lot of them are changed typing wise, there's Pidgeot, Mega Pidgeot, Fearow, Swellow, Staraptor, Unpheasant, and Toucanon. And Chatot, but that's special, so it doesn't really overlap with too many of those. But like in terms of like being a fast, physical, normal flying type, Pidgeot is mixed. Unpheasant will be mixed. Toucanon is mixed, but physically biased. And then Swallow was mixed, and then Fearow and Staraptor and actually those are the only two physical ones, purely physical. Obviously the mix is great too, but yeah. So Dodrio just would not really be that impressive over the others at all. There's already another one with Reckless. Staraptor has Reckless currently in my notes, and then No Guard. None of them have it technically, because Mega Pidgeot no longer has No Guard. It has a better. Oh god, go watch that video if that seems like no more No Guard again. Just trust me, it's a billion times better what it has now. So if that it seems interesting, you can go check that video out. You can also check out all these changes below in the description for yourself on the Google Sheet. You can click it and look at all the changes yourself. Tons of new detailed moves, and I list out what they all do and all the buffs and all the new abilities. There's 28 custom new abilities and all this awesome stuff, so you can see all that for yourself. But yeah, back on topic. Okay, so that's the number one reason I chose to change the typing is purely because it would just be it would either outclass or be outclassed by another normal flying type. There's already 7 of them. There's already like Fearow, Staraptor, Pidgey. Like it's just too much competition for him, and it would just be very boring. So we actually have a very unique typing here in ground flying, which Gliscor, if you want to go check that video out, Gliscor is no longer ground flying. So the only other ground flying type in the hack is Landorus and Landorus and Landorus Incarnate. Those are, of course, not only those are much later in the game, first of all, and second of all, they are much different. They're much tankier, not nearly as fast, and stronger overall, of course, because it's fucking Landorus. But like, actually, I believe the damage output will be like I think Dodrio would actually be stronger damage output wise because of Reckless, which is cool. Then Theory, and of course Incarnate has Cheer Force. So yeah, really awesome stuff here. So I'm gonna get into it now. That's the main reason I chose ground. Also, the logic for it is, the number one, the brown. I'm kidding, guys. It's not a valid reason, but it just makes it feel more reasonable. The main reason is because they are flightless birds. I actually hated the flying typing on them for the longest time, but I'm keeping it as what it is. I mean, it gives them stab on like peck moves and other cool stuff, so it's fine. Oh, I just got a notification. I considered a lot of other abilities, by the way, but I ended up settling on Reckless and No Guard, which are incredible, and I'll get into those in a second. Also, yes, I am aware that Sand Force is kind of weird on Doduo, but it was really all I could justify that was like not only balanced, but also like usable, because Reckless and No Guard are useless on Doduo because you don't get any recoil or inaccurate moves until late game or mid game. Like you don't get any recoil or inaccurate moves until like Ula Ula, basically. There's like very few on Akala, very, very few. And by the time you evolve, you'll be past that point. So, yeah, stat-wise, it's just a lot faster. It has a great 125 base speed now, slightly bulkier, a lot of HP and special defense, so it has equal, 75, 70, 70 bulk, pretty solid. Ground flying typing is also very solid. If you check out, I'm just going to show Gliscor just so I can show the type effectiveness. It has 3 resistances and only 2 weaknesses, and 2 immunities to electric and ground. So that having those 2 immunities to unique types really helps to give it defensive utility, so you can actually switch in your Dodrio a lot easier. That's really nice. And that for tips against ice is fine. You also have tons of coverage moves to hit those ice types anyways, with fighting and rock moves, which is awesome. So yeah, speed tier guide, you can check that out. You can see where Dodrio currently stands. He outspeeds a lot of Mons, very, very fast Mon. I think that's very fitting. Speed has a Rapidash and Raichu, and outspeeds all these guys. But yeah, and of course some of these have speed boosts and stuff, but go back now. Come on. Pokemon changes, can you load? Thank you. So, before I cover the nitty gritty of stuff, I hope I explained the logic of why I chose it. I also think it fits. Like, they are flightless birds. They run on the ground. You know, they kick. Like, I just think it's kind of fitting. I've actually seen a couple other people suggest it before too. So I know it's not just my crazy ass friend who convinced me into doing it and Stockholm syndrome me into liking the change, even though it's dumb. It is dumb. It's a dumb choice, but it's cool. And it's not that dumb, and it's a balancing choice, and it's really, really good offensively too. Ground flying is very good dual stab coverage, because most of the stuff that resists flying you hit super effectively with ground. Most of it, not all of it, but most of it. Like, for example, electric, steel, rock all resist flying, and then ground hits those super effectively, so that's really nice. I'm sure there's more that resist, and it's not always going to work that way, but like fighting. But point is, and you also if there's anything that you can't hit, I'm sure you have coverage for it because they have great coverage moves now. So yeah, I'm going to talk about their abilities now. So I'll talk about the pre-evolution Doduo in a little bit, but first I'm going to talk about Reckless and No Guard on Dodrio. So I'm just going to cover all your Reckless moves. So Reckless gives immense power boosts to your moves. So you have 115 base attack, but when you use Reckless moves, you get a 20% boost to your physical attack, essentially. So you can interpret it as boosting the move or the attack stat. It's the same thing, of course. But I'll just say the moves, just for simplicity's sake. So 115 base attack, which is incredible in its own right. You know, it's a good attack stat. You also have stuff like Swords Dance for setup, which is awesome. They gave it that in Gen 8 or Gen 7 anyways, I believe. So not that they would be weird on it. It makes total sense. So recoil moves, okay? Recoil wise, you have access to Double Edge at 50, which is just a solid normal type move, 125 base power, but that becomes 150 base power with Reckless, okay? You have Play Rough, Wild Charge, Rock Climb, and Takedown. All right, those TMs are all learned in the mid 40s, or all obtained in the mid 40s. They're all obtained after Totem Mimikyu, I believe, for the most part. Before like the Guzma fight in Potown, that's when you'll be getting all those moves. So before the Guzma fight in Potown, you get all of those, or Shady House, whatever you want to call it. You get all 4 of those recoil moves, and those are all great. None of them are stab yet, of course, but it still boosts 20%. So those moves are 110 base power, 20% recoil. Another really cool thing you can do, by the way, is you can run Shell Bell now. Shell Bell is buffed to heal 20%. There are tons of other awesome Hell Item changes, by the way. So you can check all that stuff out, but what was I trying to say? What you can do is you can run Shell Bell and you won't take any recoil with Play Rough, Wild Charge, Rock Climb, and Takedown, all of which, again, are 110 base power. And then you have stuff like Double Edge, Brave Bird, and Headlong Rush, which and Submission, all of which are 25% recoil, but stronger. And so with Shell Bell, you only take 5% recoil from those if you desire. Obviously, I don't really think it's that worth it. I mean, it's worth it in certain situations. If you need to spit, like for example, if you can sweep a trainer by just clicking entirely recoil moves, then run Shell Bell. But otherwise, it's not worth it. You're just going to want to switch out, you know, instead of killing yourself, because recoil is not that high. 20% is not very high at all for recoil. Again, most of those are what you sleep with 1/3 recoil. So, yeah. So that's for the TMs, okay? That's coverage moves. Then you have access to, again, Double Edge, and then you have Brave Bird at 55, which is incredibly good with Reckless. Brave Bird Reckless is 150 base power, just a really strong move. Has a 30% chance to drop defense. Double Edge has a 50% chance to drop defense. Play Rough has a 50% chance to drop attack. Wild Charge has a 20% chance to paralyze. Rock Climb has a 30% chance to flinch. Takedown has a 30% chance to drop defense, same as Brave Bird. So those are all good additional effects as well. Brave Bird's really strong. And then you actually get Dive Bomb and High Jump Kick, which are Reckless boosted, which is really awesome. So Dive Bomb is flying type High Jump Kick. So essentially you have Flying Stab there, and you have High Jump Kick. So if you run Wide Lens, also that's actually a perfect segue into No Guard, by the way, because those are also great No Guard moves, by the way. But Reckless is great with you know, Brave Bird, and then the last non-No Guard recoil moves are Submission and Headlong Rush. Submission and Headlong Rush are both 150 base power moves that drop your defense by 2 and deal 25% recoil. But of course, they're extremely powerful. 150 base power is super awesome. So you have Ground Stab there with Reckless. 150 base power times 1.2 is like what? 180. Yeah, so you have a 180 base power Headlong Rush and 180 base power Submission. So that's fighting. Great options. Okay, super awesome right there with No Guard. Reckless, excuse me. Reckless, a little bit limited, but you know that you hit everything. You have your dual stab. All right, you have dual stab. No, you don't. Yes, you do. You have Headlong Rush and Brave Bird and Dive Bomb for stab. Then you have Submission and Takedown for fighting coverage, Rock Climb, Wild Charge, and Play Rough for more coverage, okay? And Double Edge if you know, it's a good neutral move. That's your No Guard options. It's Reckless, excuse me, I'm really messing up right now. It's fine. So that's Reckless. Okay. As for no guard, most of your moves are most of your inaccurate moves are only 90% accurate, so it's not even that bad. However, it's still really nice to have it, especially on a frail Pokemon, because that 10% chance can mean life or death. And no guard allows you to not have to run Wide Lens on those moves, because Wide Lens is buffed to boost 15%. So you can run Reckless, Wide Lens, Dive Bomb, and High Jump Kick if you desire. Those are both 130 base power, and with Reckless, those become what, 140, 156. That's awesome. That's really powerful. Stronger than Brave Bird, but of course worse, no additional effect, first off, and then second off, you have that 10% chance to miss, and if you miss, you take half your damage, half your HP. So I would not run Dive Bomb without Reckless. I would not run Dive Bomb without No Guard or Wide Lens. I would only run Dive Bomb on No Guard sets or Wide Lens Reckless sets, personally. That's my personal opinion, though. If you're not doing a Nuzlocke, then by all means risk the miss, but if you're doing a Nuzlocke, that risk is super not worth it, in my opinion. Just slap the Wide Lens on there. You'll probably be killing whatever you need to kill anyways. You don't need like a boosting item necessarily. Not always, you might, but yeah. You have some really awesome stuff here. So, no guard wise, you have again High Jump Kick and Dive Bomb, both 130 base power. Those won't miss anymore with no guard. Then you also have access to Megaton Kick, which is a really good ground stab option. As for ground stab in general, you have also, because you might be thinking, well, look, it's ground type, it has like no ground moves. It has Dig for early game, so Dodrio gets Dig before Hala. Then after Hala, you get access to Bulldoze and Stomping Tantrum via TM and Tutor. Those are solid moves, and then you're stuck with those until Stomping Tantrum's solid anyways. It's 75 base power, but you are quote unquote stuck with that until Drill Run, which is 70 base power, but it has a 50% chance to crit, and you get Drill Peck. So if you run a Sculpt Lens, you know, now you're always gonna crit half the time. Sorry, half the time, but with a Sculpt Lens, you always crit with those moves, and they become 105 base power with Drill Run and Drill Peck. So those are good moves. Drill Run is really awesome for Dodrio for ground stab. And then late game, it has Megaton Kick and Headlong Rush, which are very powerful. So Megaton Kick is 120 base power, 90% accurate, has a 30% flinch rate. So with no guard, you know, you don't miss that. It's great, awesome move right there. 120 base power ground stab. You also have Stone Edge, which is 80 base power, 90% accurate, but it always crits, so it's 120 base power. That's incredible for no guard sets, and it's also just good coverage. Then you have Gunk Shot for no guard sets. That's 90% accurate, 110 base power. And then you have Hell Thrust and Zen Headbutt, which and Blaze Kick. Okay, so Zen Headbutt, Hell Thrust, and Blaze Kick are all 95 to 100 base power, 95% accurate moves. So with no guard, you don't have to worry about that 5% chance to miss. That's all your no guard options. So the abilities are just very solid. The main allure is the speed, the dual stab combo, the coverage. It's just a really awesome, solid, fast offensive Pokemon. It does have some defensive utility with stuff like Feather Dance and Roost and Parting Shot. Again, it has setup. It also has other good coverage moves, again, like Gunk Shot, First Impression, Lunge, Blaze Kick, all this really good coverage. So it can hit everything it needs to hit for sure. As for Doduo, it is a lot faster. 110 base speed. Early game is incredible. You're outspeeding basically everything. There's very few Pokemon. In fact, the only Pokemon currently before level 20 that are faster than you is Voltorb. So you are tied for the second fastest NFE, non-viable NFE. Non-viable meaning they aren't intended to be used with the Violet. You're supposed to evolve them as soon as you can evolve. Voltorb is 120 though, but yeah. And of course, you know, at level 20 and then in the mid 20s, you're going to get Pokemon that start to evolve and they're going to start to outspeed you. For example, Fearow is level 20. You know, Fur is level 20. Persian's like level 21 or 22, I believe. Jumpluff is 27, which is like one level before you evolve, you know, that kind of thing. Venomoth, you know, these mons do start to outspeed you, but the point is 110 base speed is still great for that point in the game. And of course, you do have a solid 85 base attack, and you have two good abilities in Defiant and Sandforce. Sandforce is kind of funky, it's weird, but number one, it's ground type now, so who cares? Number two, it mostly just needed an ability that was like decent, that also was useful. That wasn't like, I actually had Hustle at one point. Oh, speaking of, I should probably remove them from the Hustle section. Kind of funny now, we just have Teddy Ursa and chilling here with all these mons. He's just vibing on his own. Cute. We go back now. Excuse me, everybody. I just need to collect my thoughts. Yeah, so Sandforce is good. Sandstorm TM is early game, and you can learn that now. You can also set it up with somebody else. Sandstorm will give you a 30% boost in Sandforce with, with Sandstorm up, you have a 30% boost to your ground, steel, and rock moves. So ground moves actually become 1.95 times. So essentially you have adaptability for your ground type moves, almost. It's a 5% weaker version of adaptability. So Dig and Bulldoze and Stomping Tantrum are boosted by almost double. All right, it's really powerful with Sandforce. And again, 110 base speed, 85 base attack with really strong Sandforce. It's not a gimmicky set. It's actually pretty solid, especially if you're running other sand viable mons, you know, Sediment, Pokemon, rock types, that kind of thing. Then it's really awesome. So Sandforce is great early game and for Akala Island. Excuse me. And that also boosts Metal Claw, Smart Strike, and Rock Tomb. So yeah, nice coverage moves. And then of course, once you evolve, you're not gonna have Rock Slide until you evolve. So as a TM. So that's your Sand Force options. It's a solid ability, fitting, fast, mon, strong. Defiant is good. Defiant is amazing actually because a lot of moves early game drop your stats, so you can switch in Doduo on those moves. There are tons of new moves, so you have all kinds of moves that drop stats by 1, like offensive moves. So for example, I know Rock Tomb just so I can show. So you have all of these new moves. Okay, there is 4 moves that always drop special attack, 7 moves that always drop physical attack, 6 moves that always drop defense, but only like none of those are going to be relevant by the time Doduo's alive. Yeah, none of these are really Doduo alive. Why did I say it like that? I don't know. But by the time a Doduo evolves, none of these will be relevant, so don't worry about that. But speed boosting, speed dropping moves are obviously relevant. You know, stuff like Rock Tomb, Low Kick, Grass Knot, Sludge Fling, Mud Fling. Those are all over the place early game. So switching your Doduo on that, and you get a massive plus to attack boost, which is awesome. And then you also have moves that flat out drop stats, and there are tons of new ones in that as well. If I go down below and I show you, there is plenty. Okay, I don't know exactly how many, but there's a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and these 20 plus. Okay, and they're all common. A lot of basically every Pokemon gets at least 1 or 2 of these in from levels 1 to 20, levels 1 to 30. Most Pokemon get probably 3 or 4, to be honest. So those are going to be very common. So Defiant is actually inadvertently buffed in that regard. So Defiant is great. You do have access to infinite usability capsules in this hack if I didn't mention that yet. So what you can do, you know, late game, run Reckless for one fight. If you need a power boost, run No Guard every other situation. Reckless for the power boost, No Guard for the reliability. That's really all you really need to do. Or just run whichever one you prefer. But if you want to get the most out of your abilities, you should be swapping between them with your ability capsules and taking full advantage of your options. You know, you have infinite EV training as well. Not that relevant here because you're really never going to run anything besides max speed, max attack. Although there might be cases where you need some bulk investment to take a certain hit. There also might be some cases where you don't need 125 base speed. For example, say the fastest mon on their team has 115 base speed. Okay, then use the wings to increment by 4. The vitamins, like the regular ones, like protein and stuff, give 126. So you use those twice, you're maxed out. But in this case, you would use the wings to speed creep the base 115 mon to outspeed them only, and then you can put the rest in your HP. That's a more optimal use of your EVs. So you could definitely do that if you're planning ahead in like a hardcore Nuzlocke, for example. I would recommend using the docks to fight trainers. I would not recommend doing a blind hardcore Nuzlocke. I would only recommend playing blind. I would only recommend doing trainers blind if you're not doing a Nuzlocke. And also, I don't want people doing trainers blind to people complain about stuff. So, yeah, it is balanced with the idea that you have the documents to prepare for vital battles. Not saying that you have to, but if you're doing a Nuzlocke, you probably do. You really should, because also healing items are disabled in attack, so you can only use moves to heal, such as Roost in this case. Yeah, honestly, that's about it. I mean, you have Reversal, which is good. Flail is good. You know, Endure sets with Lychee Berry is awesome. Endure is a TM now, so that's good. You got Leer for utility, Feather Dance for utility. I already covered Drill Peck and Drill Run. Extreme Speed is a decent little option. Power Trip is very strong, actually. Power Trip gives you a +1 attack boost for every stat boost you have. It only has 2 PP, but, you know, that's great with stuff like Swords Dance. So Swords Dance, Power Trip, you can become very, very strong very quickly with that. You got, you know, Taunt, Parting Shot, you got U-Turn, you got awesome stuff here. Acro, tons of awesome stuff you can use here. So I think I covered about everything. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you are accepting of the odd nature of the ground and flying type Dodrio. I am aware, I'm not like, I don't lack self-awareness. I know that it's a weird choice, but I think it's really unique, and I think that it's really cool, and it's definitely needed from a balancing point of view, because we don't need more we do not need more fast physical normal flying types. We have plenty of those. We have Staraptor and Fearow. That's too many already. All right, they all get like the same coverage moves too, so it would just be like they already have enough difference between those two. You know, Fearow has Stamina and Ruthless. Staraptor has 2 other abilities that I'll talk about when I get to them, but they're all offensive abilities, so they're great. All right, that's about it. I think I covered everything, so thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you drop a like, and also subscribe if you listen this far and you're new here. That would be very helpful for me. It could help boost the algorithm. If you also leave a comment, that kind of stuff would be helpful for me. As for you, if you are new here, feel free to join the Discord server in the description. You can play my older hack in there. You can talk to me in there. You can talk to the community in there. It's been growing recently, so that's pretty cool. You can always join that. And again, the link to the Google Sheets is in the description. You can check all the changes out for yourself. So thank you very much for listening, and I will be back with more. Bye.